All right, let's get going. I don't probably be a fairly short session today, mainly informational. There are a handful of you that have not taken this questionnaire on the clash detection exercise, which is an easy peasy 5 points. So it closed yesterday or recently, and I've got it open until Halloween midnight, the 31st midnight, and then that's it. Okay, so I'll put an announcement out as a reminder to take an 8-question quiz after you go out and trick or treat. Okay. There's another housekeeping issue I need to make you aware of, and that is the grade book doesn't really represent the weights of the assignments. And I'm trying to figure out, I can do it in Canvas, but it's a little different when all of your grades are in one group. If you have some quizzes and assignments and other things, it's easy to weight the grade the grade table. But I'll get that fixed, and we can go over it again. As far as the last assignment, I have most of them graded. I'll try to grade the balance tonight. There are some that I'm just wrestling with how to do, but for the most part, I'm really tickled about these reports that I got, both in this section and the online sections. Excellent work. And some people found stuff that I wouldn't have even thought of myself. So thank you. We can look at a few of those. There are quite a few of them that I'm going to try to put them in the hall or something. They're really good. So I'm working on weighting the grade book because some assignments are worth more than others. Okay. Right now, it's just taking all the grades and averaging them, I think. So I'll get that cleaned up. Please take this survey, and let's look at a few of them. I didn't take the names off, so, and these are just some I picked at random. I could show a lot more, so don't do it that way. You're not. Okay. So some of this was pretty descriptive, what I was looking for. descriptions on what the rules were. Most everyone did that one way or another. Some people compared the number of clashes between Navisworks and BIMsite. I didn't ask you to do that, but it's pretty cool. So given the different tolerances, is it interesting to see the difference between the two software applications? You know, some folks got their phone out and took images of their screen, and it's just not a very good thing to do. I took points off if I saw that, for the most part. I think I don't know if everyone knows this, but if I pull up this menu, if you have Windows 10, I think it's in the previous version of Windows 2. There's a snipping tool right here. It's part of the operating system. You can hit that and get a screenshot pretty much of anything on your screen. Okay. But anyway, some really, really nice reports. I didn't take off for it, but again, try not to use first person. You know, when you're writing this stuff, um, when you get out and do these reports for real, you will be doing reports. Um, it'd be best not to use first person. So there's quite a comparison there of different tolerances, number of clashes. Again, I didn't ask you to necessarily do that. several people had trouble installing the software. So they had really good reports. They only used one application. So it's just got to figure out how I'm going to deal with that. One of the reasons I announce what we're going to do way ahead of the time it's due is there's going to be technical problems with software, period. Most of you probably had issues with it. So I've got to be fair to the people who used both applications and spent the time to download it and fish out the bugs. And so it's kind of a dilemma. I don't really want to be punitive, but I got to be fair to everyone. Excuse me. So the last assignment, which will eat up November in here, I want you to understand how to put together a more detailed estimate, not by square footage, right? By items in the project. We'll most likely have to use a cost source of RS means, but not the square foot guides, the master format items. So I'm trying to figure out what quantities we can use out of these models, and I'm still working on it. I pulled down Celebri Model Checker, as I told you before, and I think that's probably the answer. And I used it for about 5 days, and then I got busy, and my 14-day trial subscription got used up. So today, on a different computer with a different email address, I started another 14-day trial, and I'll have a design for this final project hopefully Thursday. The model viewer in Celebri, it's called the model checker, right? So the words, I hope I don't mix these words up because they mean different things. The model checker is a big part of their profit model, and that's why they give out the viewer, the one we have used, for free. So after your 14-day trial expires, if you use the checker, it defaults to the viewer. Okay? But it's pretty amazing what I've seen with trying to extract some of the object quantities. So I'm still trying to get a handle on that. I want it to be on something like this, I could throw 80 hours of work at you real easy. And I don't particularly want to do that. I want you to understand what's involved in putting together a more detailed estimate. And I understand I'm competing with final projects, with the other courses. Okay? So I'm trying to figure out something that is reasonable for all of us. Okay? And that is a good learning experience as well. So I'm sorry I don't have it together yet, but I'll have it soon. One thing I have checked out, and I'm not really, I don't think I'm going to require anyone to do this, but if you want, you can play with this open source software application. It's called IFC File Analyzer, and it's created by a gentleman, Mr. Lipman, I think, at NIST. Does anybody know what NIST is? NIST is National Institute of Standards and Testing. Okay. The National Institute of Standards and Testing. It's part of the federal government. Okay. So since IFC files, industrial foundation class files, are an open format, an employee at NIST has created this software program that will dump out your IFC model data into a spreadsheet. I don't know if it's good enough for us to get quantities out of, but I can show you some examples. And I may share these with us if we can't get things a better way. But this is free. I had to give them my name and my email address, and then I get sent a link. But it's free, and it looks like this. It's not very sexy. It's just a window with with 3 tabs here and some options up here. Okay. I don't understand half of what this thing probably can do. I'll tell you right now. But what it does is you bring your IFC file into this, and it spits out a spreadsheet. Okay. And I set mine for sorting and filtering. Okay. And you can set some parameters here, how many rows of a worksheet you want, blah, blah, blah. But let me just show you. I'll open maybe one of the smaller IFC files. So it doesn't take long. All right. So I just went File, Open. I pointed at my IFC file, and I say Generate a spreadsheet. Hopefully it'll work. Crashed on me once with the 300 architectural model. No, I don't really want to close those, but that's how you do it. There's a little progress bar down at the bottom, and here's what it looks like. So this one was the LOD 300 structural model, and it lists what they call entities, and it counts how many they have. So let's see, IFC beams, it shows that many. Columns, IFC columns, shows that many. Slabs, I think there's one on here called slabs, maybe walls, and it creates all these different sheets. So for instance, on the beams, this is the information that it dumps out. So these are all named differently, so there's nothing to really group there. All those columns have different names. I think maybe the architectural model has materials, so you could filter these by materials, and it just creates a boatload. These are all tabs in the spreadsheet that it creates. Right. So if you open up a spreadsheet and it has all these tabs, you come right over here, you right mouse click, and you navigate to the tab that you want. Right. So if I want columns, it takes me to that tab. And I've just been looking at the different IFC files. Let me see if I have the architectural one, because I think it has better sorting and filtering capabilities. Anyway, it may be something you want to play with if you want to learn more about IFC files. Let's see. Maybe it didn't do it to that one. Maybe that's where I crashed. This is the LOD 200 architectural. So it's got the architectural model has some codes for materials, and I'm trying to figure out what the difference between those two are. So I can come in here and I can isolate some of these, and then I'm going to go to the model and see what the difference is. So it's kind of the things I'm sorting through right now. But this thing will create these spreadsheets with groupings, right? So you hit these things to collapse certain columns. So anyway, if you're interested in the contents of IFC files, feel free to take a look at this IFC file analyzer from NIST. So I would ask if there are any comments on the last assignment, but all I have to do is hopefully look at the questionnaire. Okay. And you told me in there how you really feel. And all three of the surveys and the questionnaires, I will share that data with the class. Okay. I can dump it out into a spreadsheet, which I've done. Fan Zhang is going to help me with running some of the statistics on it. I'm not a statistical wizard. But it's very interesting, and I would like to share all that information with the class. So I just need to keep playing with the model checker, and I'm pretty sure we'll call the slabs concrete and maybe some of the columns, right? So we'll take that off. There's a basement, which is something that we can quantify pretty easily. And we have some drawings. We have some drawings that we can use. I hope you know how to find this, right? So each of the different LOD models had kind of a sheet with a few drawings on it. Okay. And so if you look at the LOD 300 sheet, they didn't get rid of the crooked windows, even though we advised them to in our constructability review. But there are some sheets here that we could get areas from. And I'll tell you this, I'm not sure you're going to need it, but if any of you, I have individual licenses for what's called Blue Beam Review. Have any of you used Bluebeam or heard of it? It's a pretty robust application. It does a lot more things that I know about, but you can do takeoff, for instance, on this sheet with it. You can pull it into Bluebeam and say, it'll say hit 2 points and tell me the distance between them. So, I might hit this and say 18 feet between, stripes on a parking space, and I can get areas or volumes. If you get the area and you tell it it's a 6-inch slab, it'll give you the volume. We're going to do that in the Estimating 1 class. If you haven't played with on-screen takeoff, it might be fun to get a license and play with it if you're not going to use it for the final estimate that we do. Okay. See, they left the crazy stuff on one side, on the back of the building. Right there too. Well, we tried, right? So if you would like to have a Bluebeam license, pop me an email and I'll send you a registration code. Okay. As long as you don't use it for making commercial purposes, I think it's 12 months or something like that, 6 or 12 months. So anyway, that's the housekeeping. Tried to tell you where I'm at, what's coming. Kudos on the last assignment. Made my week, made my day. Appreciate it. Unless there's any questions, I don't have anything else. But I will say, by Thursday, I should know whether we're going to use another software application. And you might not need to use it for a week, but please be proactive. And if it's that 14-day thing, then we need to just do it within, we've got to do the assignment or the takeoff with it within 14 days. But anyway. Anything? Studio 3 is going out of town starting Thursday. Okay. So, nothing's going to be due right away. Thursday, hopefully I'll have the parameters of how the final estimate's going to work. It'll be videoed. You guys can catch that. And you're certainly, excused in class. Hope you have a good trip. Learn a lot. Yeah, thank you. All right, well, thank you.